welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Skiff Misara.
We are two Americans living in Sweden, talking about football.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Oh, man, that's fun. I think that went too long, though. A little too long. Whatever.
I mean, you know, it was a crazy week of football.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, it was a crazy week of football, man.
I mean, there were some very unexpected, games of the season almost in week 9.
Man.
It was,
and we don't
crazy.
talk enough about our we don't talk a lot about our betting on here because that's for the people who are interested in that. You know, it's a little specific thing for Patreon. But
right.
I'm just gonna say for the record that I'm never, ever, ever betting on Mac Jones again. That's all I'm saying, man. I learned my lesson, ruined the parlay, just thinking this guy was gonna have a coming out party when it's just not it. He's not it. I watch him playing, and I feel like
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
it's crazy.
We'll get into that game later, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It was astonishing. Yeah, it's a little shocking to see what's going on over there.
Yeah, man. I got a question for you. Is Will Levis the real deal?
I don't know. Actually,
No.
I think it's too early.
Of course not.
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, let's do it. Thursday Night Football. Steelers beat the Titans 20-16. To me, this was a Will Levis back to earth game.
Yeah.
Didn't play terrible,
Right.
but he was not in any way special as he was the week before. He finally threw a pick, like I said he would. I told you he's going to start doing this. This kid at Kentucky, I looked this up because, well, the reason why I looked it up is because there are no limits to my level of pettiness. He played 24 games at Kentucky, and in those games, he did throw quite a few touchdowns, to be fair, but he also threw 23 interceptions in 24 games.
Wow.
So I'm telling you, more picks are coming. I guarantee it. And the one that he threw in this game was not pretty, underthrown into triple coverage. I mean, take your pick. I mean, who was it? Quan Alexander picked it off, right? But there were like 3 guys. He had one guy, the receiver had a guy on his left, he had a guy on his right, and then there was a guy up front, Quan Alexander, who coincidentally is a former LSU Tiger, also in the SEC. So he's probably picked Will Levis off before, for all we know. Steelers weren't special.
No, man. 5-3.
Oddly enough, yeah, they just keep stacking wins. It's kind of, I don't know. Mike Tomlin, I guess. I don't know what else to say. You know what I mean? Like,
on the other side, it was supposed to be that other guy that just doesn't have losing seasons, Mike Vrabel. But
that's actually, I feel like that's true. Actually, I mean, these are the 2 coaches who just figure out a way to stack wins for sure. I mean, the good news for the Steelers is that they were finally able to run the ball a lot better, which they have had a hard time with that so far this year. They trailed for most of the game until Deontay Johnson finally caught his first touchdown in over a year? This guy hasn't caught it. He didn't catch a touchdown last year.
Oh, damn.
And I think the last touchdown pass that he caught was like in the playoffs the year before.
Well, when we talked about this game, you said their focus is going to be on Deontay Johnson, and you were right about that, man. Mm-hmm. They were really going, trying to get him the ball. You could tell there was a focal point. So as I watched it, I was thinking about you. I was like, man, Skiff really he had that one. That was some Skip Stradamus stuff right there.
Yeah. And can we please, just for a second, talk about TJ Watt sacking Will Levis after getting his helmet ripped off? Was it just not the most amazing thing? It's so crazy. This
I had to watch that one twice.
This is also kind of what I was saying. You know, obviously Will Levis lit up the Falcons in his first game with the 4 touchdown passes. And when I saw that they were going to play the Steelers the week after, as much improved as the Falcons defense has been this year, we do not have a TJ Watt on our team. I mean, that is a scary man that you have to play against if you're a quarterback. A man who has no problem continuing his pursuit to like bury you 6 feet underneath the earth, helmet or no helmet. He's just like, fuck it. You want to rip that shit off? Where's the quarterback? Oh, I can see better now. There he is. Like, let me go get him. I mean, that was brutal.
Everybody's always talking about the advantages that offenses have, but defense can keep playing without their helmet on. So there's that.
That's true. If
an offensive player has the ball and the helmet comes off, the play dies. So everybody can just relax.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, the AFC North is kind of interesting. I looked at the standings. I don't know if a lot of people realize this. If the playoffs started today, all 4 teams from the AFC North would be in the playoffs right now.
Everybody thought that was going to be the AFC East, but the AFC North is really. I kind of counted them out at the beginning of the year too, man, because they were all looking kind of shabby.
Yeah.
But they really, that division is really looking like the cream of the crop right now.
I mean, you would definitely expect the Steelers. To me, so far, we don't have one of these fake, like, remember when when we felt, there was one year where the Vikings were undefeated forever, and it felt like, okay, this is not real.
Wasn't that last year, or was it? No,
that was last year.
And then the Steelers were the year before that.
There was I think the Steelers. I don't
remember they were like 11-0.
Yeah,
we were like, it's time for them to lose, man. It was 2 years ago.
I would predict that the second half of their season, I think it will start to invert itself. I don't expect them to continue to stack wins the way they've been doing now. I haven't looked at their schedule, but I don't know. There are some encouraging things about the Steelers, and of course you can always trust Mike Tomlin. But I just think their offense is so troublesome.
Well, they got the Packers next. Then they got the Browns, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they got the Bengals, probably L. Then they got the Cardinals, then the Patriots, then the Colts.
It's actually not that hard of a schedule, so I don't know. Maybe I'll take it back.
Back to the Bengals, and then Seahawks, Ravens. So they could lose the last 3 games of the season. But I see them like at worst case is 9-8. Best case, 12-5.
That's Mike Tomlin for you. 9-8.
Yeah,
at least bare minimum.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Unless Trubisky has a lot of playing time.
Oof.
The drop off between those two, man. Well, I mean, he's just irresponsible. Pickett might not be a world beater, but he's not going to be stupid.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he went 19 for 30 in this game. I just feel like he's just off. I don't. Yeah. He does not. He feels like the kind of quarterback that is only like. I feel like his floor and his ceiling are like on top of each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like he's not. I don't. At some point, they're gonna have to realize you're not gonna do much with this guy.
Yeah.
This might be as good as it gets.
We'll see. We'll see, man. Maybe year 3. Maybe a new OC. They might need some fresh offensive coordinator blood in there. Everybody's talking about Matt Canada.
Oh, that was it. They made a big deal about the fact that Matt Canada was calling plays from the field instead of the booth. He's never done that before. And I mean, I don't know. I think he's just
That's
trying to
some hot seat. That's coordinator hot seat shit right there.
Yeah, he literally got out of his seat in the booth because it was so hot. He had to come down and cool off on the sidelines.
Exactly. I didn't know how to segue into this one. Normally I can, but the most anticlimactic game I've ever watched. It's just the toothpaste cum shot. The last toothpaste squeeze out.
Yeah, Chiefs beat the Dolphins 21-14. I mean,
Frankfurt got robbed.
It's funny because it felt like, at first, the Chiefs. Okay, first of all, the idea that the Chiefs were somehow going to be sleepy because they showed up later than the Dolphins. I mean, the Chiefs, that did not turn out to be true.
Yeah. But the reason we said that, you got to remember the reason that people said that is because Buffalo did it just recently.
No, of course, yeah, I know exactly why we said it. But I'm just saying they came out and looked that first drive.
They put that to bed, man.
They looked amazing. I mean, they just moved right down the field. I think he threw passes to like 6 different receivers in one drive.
Yeah, man.
They just
it don't get no better than that, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
They looked great. I was like, this is gonna be a long day. And then Miami didn't score. Miami didn't score the whole first half. And then
they didn't convert a third down until like late in the third quarter.
Yeah, it was. I was like, oh, it's blowout city. And then I thought we were gonna come back and get that final score in before the half. It's kind of Mike McDaniel's thing. And then that fumble question mark. That was
the Tyreek.
Yeah. That did he have possession thing, and all of that stuff, that fumble.
Well,
and
there's
great pitchback.
Yeah. Great play by the Chiefs. I mean, they just kept playing. They just kept doing their thing, which is what they're supposed to do. But I agree. It not only is there reason to question whether he had possession, but it's also kind of a question of had his forward progress been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was
that.
There was that end of it as well. So
hold on to the ball though. I mean, if you could get it, it seemed like he never really had it in possession of it all. I don't know, man. You still shouldn't have been down 14-0 anyway.
Right.
And not throwing it downfield. And I was like, why are we doing these silly plays behind the line of scrimmage anyway? And
to be fair, sadly, I would say that I feel like the Chiefs defense deserves a gold star in this one.
Hell yeah.
Because they look like they had a plan for Tyreek and they carried it out to perfection.
Yes. As Miami did for Kelsey. It seemed like the two strategies were take away Kelsey, take away Tyreek. And both teams did that. And the second half, the Chiefs did not score in the second half. Right. Dolphins did not score in the first half. And I thought we were going to have a crazy finish to the game. And Miami finally got rolling a little bit. And they got rolling in the third quarter. Then a scoreless fourth quarter. And then a bad snap. The game ends on a bad snap. It's just so anticlimactic.
That has to be one of the worst ways for a game to end.
Yeah, but I left more encouraged by Miami's defense. And Chiefs fans have to be encouraged by their defense.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes said after the game that it's the best defense he's been a part of. So I believe him, man. They have really been hanging their hat on the defense as they figure out the offensive side, and now they're head and shoulders above the rest of the AFC with a 7-2 record. So kudos to them.
And headed into their bye, I believe.
I know we're on a bye.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't too bummed. I just felt like at the ending. I'd rather throw a pick.
Speaking of a team that should go goodbye, let's move on to the Vikings and the Falcons. Okay, I'm probably not going to. I don't have a lot to say about the actual specifics of the game.
Okay.
The Vikings beat the Falcons 31-28. Now, okay, when I decided to talk about this game, So people who listen to this podcast, they've heard my rant before about how the Falcons, they don't just lose games. They find a way to take the concept of losing and they raise it to the level of an art form. Okay. Now, if you've heard this rant in the past and thought to yourself, come on, Skiff, you're overreacting. I present to you week 9, 2023 Vikings versus Falcons in Atlanta. In Atlanta is key. If this happened on the road, it feels different. And by that, I mean that people who live in Atlanta actually paid to watch this happen. Okay. Hell, I even saw a Swede in the Facebook group who traveled to Atlanta to watch this happen.
Damn.
Okay. So let's do this. All right. Just to put it all into context so that you understand what I'm trying to talk about here with losing as an art form. Okay.
Okay. All right.
It's Taylor Heineke versus Jaron Hall, a 5th round rookie in his first NFL start. All right. Who, to be fair, I think we could have lost to that guy too.
Yeah, he got hurt. He got hurt in the red zone, 5 yards outside the end zone.
But before he left the game with an injury, he was 5-6 and had already thrown for 78 yards. So he was doing pretty good. But this is kind of what I'm talking about. We don't lose to the rookie in his first NFL start. Again, we did that already. We did it last week to Will Levis, right? Losing back-to-back weeks to rookies in their first NFL starts it's just making the same mistake twice, okay? No, but losing to Josh Dobbs, who just joined the Vikings less than a week ago, a man who did not know the names of his teammates, much less the Vikings playbook. Josh Dobbs took 0 snaps with the offense this week. 0. Okay? So that means he had never taken a snap from the center. He hadn't thrown a single pass to a Vikings wide receiver. Like, he didn't even know the cadences that the quarterback needs to know in order to signal to the center that he should snap the ball. Like, they were practicing that on the sideline because he didn't know. He's calling the plays. I read about this the day after, and I was like, this is insane. He is calling the plays that are coming into his helmet through the radio, but he doesn't know what the words mean. He doesn't know what the play, like, he's calling out the play that's coming into his ears. So before they break the huddle, the players have to tell him what the play is. Like, the receivers are telling him the routes they're going to run. The running back is like, oh, that's a run play. Just snap the ball and hand it off to the right because I'm going to go that way. Like, they're literally just drawing plays in the dirt because Dobbs doesn't know the fucking playbook at all. Okay?
Wow.
That is what we lost to. Okay?
Gave up 31 points to.
Exactly. And another weird detail that wound up not really being relevant, but it was just interesting as hell and would have taken this like to the stratosphere. Josh Dobbs comes in for the injured Jaron Hall, but Cam Akers, we learned during the game, was the Vikings' emergency quarterback in the event that something would have happened to Dobbs. But he left the game after injuring his Achilles. I'm convinced that even if Dobbs got hurt, the Falcons still would have found a way to lose this game. And did I mention that Josh Dobbs is from Alpharetta, Georgia, and grew up rooting for this ridiculous franchise as a child? Yeah.
Surprisingly,
honestly,
no, you didn't mention
the
that.
details that are wrapped inside of this game, I could go all day long. But this is what I'm talking about, the concept of losing as an art form. Now, before we move on from this game, I just want to quickly shout out to the Minnesota Vikings. And I just want to say that this win, in all sincerity, I'm just glad this happened for your sake. Honestly, like it could not have happened to a nicer team. And one that I feel like the Vikings kind of share our virus, this ridiculous high art loserness that the Falcons have. I feel like the Falcons and the Vikings have like a weird kind of kindred spirit thing in that because of that. And as baffled and as disappointed as I am, I'm just glad that we didn't do this against like some dumbass shitty team like the Saints or something. I'm glad we didn't do it against a team that wouldn't be able to appreciate the magnitude of how insane it was. Like the Vikings have been on both sides of crazy stuff like this. So I feel like they
don't forget Morton Anderson. Don't forget Morton Anderson.
Yeah, exactly. We did it to them to go to the Super Bowl too. So I don't even really. I have more to say later when we get to the superlatives related to Arthur Smith.
Me too.
But I don't know, man. I know it sounds stupid, but I just stop it, Falcons. Just stop doing it. Just stop.
Speaking of just stop, this is apparently what the Cardinals said after the first half of the game. Just stop.
Yeah.
It turns out Clayton Tune is not the one.
No, he's not good.
No. I don't know if I've seen passes that bad, like, in a while.
Yeah.
Sometimes it looked like he was just like, you know what? I don't want to be out here anymore. Let me give it to the other two. Like, it was just, those interceptions were bad. He just was like, I'm sorry. It just felt like a game of apologies. And the Browns just rolled the Cardinals. And I don't have anything to say about it except for
Clayton Tune was 11 for 20, 58 yards passing, no touchdowns, 2 picks. He lost a fumble, got sacked 7 times. As a team, the Cardinals had 41 rushing yards. So, yeah.
And Deshaun he had Watson, 28 of them. He had 28 of them. Clayton Tune.
Yeah. So Deshaun Watson, who himself was only 19 for 30, he didn't even have to be good. I mean, you and I could have played quarterback for the Browns and won this game.
Yeah, definitely.
Christmas came early for Myles Garrett when he found out, 5th round rookie, Clayton Tune. Hello, young man.
Hello.
And news dropped today that the Cardinals expect Kyler Murray to start this week against the Atlanta Falcons. So that should be fun. That should be really fun. I was just starting to, like, the only thing I took away from, like, after that horrible loss to the Vikings was like, well, you know what? We got the Cardinals next week. We clearly going to beat Clayton Tune. We can't lose to 3 fucking shitty rookie quarterbacks. We can't do it. But no, we're going to get Baby Yoda with the fucking crazy legs. So anyway.
And we're going to stick with the NFC West not being good. The LA Rams mustered up 3 points behind Brett Rippon against the Packers, who needed some type of positive energy.
That's true.
Yeah, and Jordan Love, 20 for 26. You know, little game manager style right there.
Yeah, I will say this, though. I mean, the box score looks fine for him, but I'll say I still don't. Most of this happened like in the second half. Like this game was 7-3 at the half. Yeah. Like the Packers offense still looks very dysfunctional to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if they're playing a team other than the Brett Rippon led Rams, they're probably going to lose this game. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I mean,
he might not be the guy, man.
I think probably not. Yeah, I think probably not for sure. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think they're just a franchise that's coming down to earth. You know what I mean? You've had Hall of Fame quarterbacks for what, 40 years?
Yeah,
so, you know, you're seeing the same thing in Kansas City where you have a guy like Mahomes who, you know, what's the most interesting thing about the Chiefs in the last 2 years is that you look at their receiver core and you think, but Mahomes figures out a way. You know what I mean? Yep. That's what Hall of Fame quarterbacks do. And Jordan Love is not going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. So if you're going to rebuild this franchise, you're going to have to do it the right way. You might have to do it in a way that you've never had to do it before for the Packers. So, and is the current regime even capable of doing that? They've never had to. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how. I wouldn't feel so great if I was a Packers fan right now. You won.
I wouldn't either, man.
But yeah, we'll see.
I feel better than I felt if I was a Patriots fan, though.
Agreed. I have no empathy for Patriots.
Oh my God. We thought this was gonna be Mac Jones coming out party. The Washington Commanders are selling everything. They're having their fire sale on the defensive line. It was like, oh, he's gonna have time. He's gonna pick them apart. And I was like, I hate the Patriots, and I was frustrated watching Mac Jones. But I forgot they were down those two receivers. I forgot Parker was out, and their leading receiver was out. Forget his name. Burks or something like that?
Well, why would that even matter when Mac Jones can't even really land a target properly? I mean, this is the guy who, I mean, you're the one who describes him as the man with the most punchable face. Yeah. He was so bad in this game. 24 for 44, 220 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. I don't know if the receivers were running the wrong routes, but he threw so many balls over their heads. And in some cases, like, just to note, like he just threw balls to nowhere.
And then he has a temper tantrum.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just gets mad, running to the side. Like, oh, fuck. It's like, whoa, what's going on? Whose fault?
But that's what made me think that people may have run the wrong routes or something. I don't know. I mean, obviously the Patriots, what are they? 2-6?
Yeah.
2-7. 2-7. Yeah. I mean, something ain't right. You know what I mean? Like, obviously it's just the wheels have completely come off over there. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson had the only really special moment of the game for the Patriots with that 64-yard touchdown run. And then they just got picked apart by Sam Howell. You know? I mean,
yeah. I don't know. I can't believe it. And the Patriots, I know they're hurting on defense through injuries. But I don't know. I think you should be able to get to Sam Howell more. I don't know.
Everybody else does. I mean, they did sack him 3 times. I mean, I bet the NFL wishes they could take back next week's Germany game. Colts, Patriots. Oof. It's not good.
Yeah. Well, they did get the Dolphins and the Chiefs.
So. That's true.
Man, this was bad, man. I'm really happy, but I'm confused as well.
Yeah. I mean, everything despite the fact that your Dolphins lost, everything lined up pretty good for you this week. I mean, everybody else in your division lost too. So,
yeah, and great. The Commanders are 4-5, man. They're still in the hunt.
I think the Commanders will continue to be that weird team that they win one week, they lose the next, win, lose, la, la, la. I don't know. I mean, theoretically, they can make the playoffs, but I don't know. I don't see it.
What do you think about the Saints?
I try not to think about them too much. But I guess, actually, you know what I think? Okay, so the Saints won 24-17 against the Chicago Bears. I've said this before.
Bears put up a fight, man. They
Bears
put up a fight in this game.
I've said this before. To win the NFC South, it's kind of like being chased by a bear. You don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than the idiots in your group. And outrunning the Bears, these Bears did not appear to be that difficult at all, especially when they turned the ball over 5 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Bagent had a fumble and 2 picks. DJ Moore had a fumble. Saints should have won this game by 3 touchdowns.
Yes. Yeah, because that's what we bet on.
Yeah,
we bet 8-point spread, and they won by 7. Like, are you kidding me? You're supposed to blow these guys out, man.
So I mean, they won, but I'd be a little concerned by how dysfunctional. They should have killed these guys. I will say this for me. There is nothing more fun than Taysom Hill. When I think about Taysom Hill, I think about it like it must be so much fun to be Taysom Hill, like as a player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's everywhere. He's picking up key first downs. He led the Saints in rushing. From the QB spot, he was 1 for 1 and threw a 3-yard touchdown pass. Cherry on top, he has 4 receptions for 13 yards and a touchdown. This is absurd. Like, he is so. I was sitting there watching the game with my family, and of course, me and ASAC, we're familiar with Taysom Hill, so we're kind of used to him popping up in all these different spots. But Joanna was like, "Wait a minute, wasn't that guy just the quarterback? What's he doing? Like, why is he over there?" Like, we were trying to explain the phenomena that is Taysom Hill to her, and through explaining it to her, I just couldn't help but just be kind of like, you know what, I've always kind of liked him. Yeah.
Did you explain to her what a great white hope is?
No, she's familiar with that.
There was some hope for the Seahawks until the game started. And then Black Baker went to work, man.
Yeah, you're right. It's sort of interchangeable, isn't it? Yeah. White Gino and Black Baker. This is did you hear this stat? Lamar Jackson is now 18-1 against the NFC. That's absurd.
They even beat the top of the NFC with the Lions. They gave them a ass whooping, sent them home crying.
So sure did. Like, I did think the Ravens would win this game, but I did not think the Seahawks would be a total no-show. The Seahawks had 28 total rushing yards. 28 total rushing yards.
Yeah, what's up with Kenneth Walker, man?
I mean, to be fair, I think Kenneth Walker is very good. I just think I don't know. I mean, he clearly ran up a buzzsaw in the form of my man, former Bulldog Roquan Smith and his buddies who were like falling out. I mean, the other problem was that Gino looked terrible. Yeah. I mean, he looked terrible, even when he wasn't throwing. Yeah, and even even when he wasn't throwing picks, like some of his passes were just like, oh no, don't throw that. It was it was not pretty. There
was one pass where like 3 guys touched the ball, but nobody picked it off.
Exactly, yeah. The big story in this game was not even really Lamar Jackson. It was the rookie running back Keaton Mitchell out of East Carolina, undrafted.
ECU, baby.
Undrafted rookie, had 9 carries for 138 yards and a touchdown. What the hell happened to the Seahawks run defense? They came into the week with one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be good. They were not good.
I used to go party at ECU, man. They know how to party out there.
Oh, I believe it.
On the shore like that, on that water. Man. But yeah, that was just a beatdown and a little concerning. The NFC West, man, it's like they're like, no, what do we do without the 49ers?
Lose. They lost. And because they lost, the 49ers, who weren't even playing this week, recapture the number 1 spot in the NFC West, oddly enough.
Man. They were looking bad. Somebody mentioned it. You're not in the chat, huh? The chat was live, man. Everybody, shout out to y'all on the Facebook group that joined us in the chat. Those of you that don't know about it, you can follow us on Facebook or join the SveNFL Pod group on Facebook. And we have our game time chat that we just started up. This was the first week where we had a game, all of the games, and everybody's just saying their pieces in there. It was really fun.
I don't generally like to text and chat while I'm watching football.
I get it.
But, yeah. I mean, I text with you.
Yeah. No, but
and when I'm not,
then you get stressed out. You start getting stressed out.
And then I do remember like getting texts from you and from some other people during a particularly stressful Falcons game. I think it was last season, and I think I wrote everybody. I was like, "Okay, I can't talk right now." Just like
leave me
told
alone.
Everybody, fuck off.
But it's a fun thing though. I like that. I don't mind hopping in there and talking some shit.
That's great.
We predict one thing we got right in our bets this week was that there were going to be a lot of points scored in that Texans-Bucks game. But I didn't know it was going to be like this, man.
I mean,
and it should have been another like 4 points if they had a kicker that wasn't hurt.
I know.
At least for like 7 points, maybe.
I'm not sure if anyone had Bucks Texans marked as their 2023 game of the year. But honestly, it kind of was. If you missed this one, I highly recommend going back and watching it. This game was insane. Baker Mayfield had a decent day.
Who are you talking about?
White Gino.
Oh yeah, White Gino.
he had a decent day. I mean, he was good. He was 21 for 30, 265 yards, a couple of touchdowns. He didn't throw any picks, so that's great. Rashad White, who's kind of quietly getting a lot better. He rushed for 73 yards. He also had a bunch of receptions too, like 46 yards in receiving. So he had a great day. He also had 2 touchdowns. Cade Otton, their tight end, he was good, making plays, a couple of touchdowns. I mean, it kind of felt like it was going to be the Baker Mayfield comeback story. But honestly, the Bucks, I mean, what else are you supposed to say about C.J. Stroud? I mean, he breaks a rookie record. He breaks this rookie record. He throws 475 yards and 5 touchdowns. 470 and 5. I mean, the run game was non-existent. But it didn't matter because the receivers went absolutely nuclear. Tank Dell had 114 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Dalton Schultz probably had the best game of his career, 130 yards and a touchdown. Noah Brown with 153 yards and a touchdown.
He should have been like he was a Cowboy, right? A couple years ago.
Yeah.
Or last year, maybe. Man, I was like, oh shit, Noah Brown. Good for him. I always like that dude. Yeah, that's crazy to have 3 receivers with over 100 yards.
But this one was brilliant. I mean, obviously back and forth the whole game, especially in the second half. White Gino probably thought he had this one in the bag, taking the lead with 46 seconds left. But Stroud said, hold my fucking beer. Dude went 6 plays, 75 yards in only 40 seconds to win this game with an absolute missile. Missile. That thing was on a rope. It was like...
The one before that was an even better throw, too. To set up the touchdown. It was a perfect pass. And it let the receiver get his feet in bounds. He caught like over the defender, under the other defender, feet in bounds. It's fucking perfect. I was just in awe. My brother was calling him Baby Mahomes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, might be something.
I just kept thinking after this was over, like, how great it must be. I felt really good for the Texans fans. Like, this is a franchise that has been through some stuff. They've never really had a lot of stability from the coaching position because, the front office of this organization has always been dysfunctional. And then you have the way that the whole Deshaun Watson thing played out, which was probably embarrassing and awful. And now you got your guy. You got your guy. Not only do you have your guy, you got your coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's not something that the Texans have been able to say in a long time.
Nope.
So it's pretty cool.
They're like 12 times the charm.
Sucks for Jacksonville. They probably thought they were just going to like own this division for the next 5 years.
Nah, it's about to be a rivalry.
Yeah, I think so too.
Man, it was a fun one though, man. Then we had the Colts and the Panthers, and Colts. Pretty forgettable game though. Bryce Young running for his life, just getting beat up, man. Feeling bad for him. Gardner Minshew being meh. Was this worst game of the day? I guess a blowout is worse. There were some fun moments in this, but it was...
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, this was, it's funny. It's sort of the Frank Reich revenge game.
Oh yeah,
which turned into a bit of a cakewalk, thanks mostly to Bryce Young throwing picks to everyone. He threw 3 interceptions, 2 of them pick sixes.
Same guy.
Both of the pick sixes went to Kenny Moore, who, check out this stat line. He had 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns for 115 yards. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, a terrible first half for Bryce Young. In the first half, he went 7 for 14, 34 yards. Crazy. Insane.
That's disgusting. Who's their backup? That's almost a benchable offense, but I guess you got to go through it.
Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is their backup.
I kind of would have. Like 2 pick sixes, it's like, sorry, bro.
And the fact that we're talking about these 2 games back to back, like Bryce Young was the number 1 pick in the draft.
Oh yeah.
It's been well reported that Frank Reich wanted CJ Stroud instead of Bryce Young. But David Tepper forced him to take Bryce Young. Now, Bryce Young could turn into a real quarterback at some point. I'm sure he could. I'm not saying he's a bust yet. It's too early to say that. But I will say this. Bryce Young, I really do think that his physical traits are going to make it it's always going to be an uphill climb for him. Always. Yeah. He's so small. He's so fucking small. And people tried to act like, oh, it's not a big deal. And the other thing, and remember when during the draft when CJ Stroud, remember this crazy, like, weird psychological test that everybody has to take? Mm-hmm. What do they call it? The S2 test or something? It's supposed to test your ability to, like, react and stress and all this other stuff. Apparently, Stroud flunked that test miserably, and it became like a storyline at the draft. And they started talking about, oh, he might drop, he might slide. And people were, oh, Will Levis might actually go in front. Remember, and there were like all kinds of crazy stories about it. And it turns out that the best metric for trying to decide if somebody's a good quarterback is not the S2 test. It's playing football. Just watch him play football. Just watch him play football. And we watched Bryce Young play football in this game, and he was terrible. He's awful. And this, to me, for the Colts was kind of similar to like what I said in the Saints game. They should have blown these dudes out of the water. I mean, over half of their points for the Colts came from these 2 pick sixes. Without those, this game's tied 13-13. Colts, what are you doing? What's going on here?
Good point. The Raiders fired their coach. And stories immediately started coming out. Like, apparently Josh McDaniels was not liked by many.
Yeah. I have a whole breakdown on that we can do in the next episode. That it's pretty it's worth.
I can't wait to hear that.
It's pretty fascinating. The stories that are coming out of that locker room.
They came out, they beat the dog crap out of the Giants, who lost their quarterback for the year, and it doesn't look like things are going to look up at all for them.
Can I tell you something that I found astonishing about this before the game even started? So back to your original point, the Raiders had fired their coach and their GM. They benched their starting quarterback for a rookie out of Purdue, and they were still favored by 2 points against the Giants before the game started. I mean, that's dark. It also turned out to be true. I mean, again, like you said, Daniel Jones, obviously gone for the year. I think the report is torn ACL.
Damn. No contact too, right? Didn't he just like No. It was afterwards. It was after.
The first one was contact, and then he tried to play through, and it didn't work. So naturally, that brought us another episode of Tommy DeVito, who was just as bad as I remember him from last week's episode. 15 for 20, 175 yards, 1 touchdown pass, but 2 picks. I'm not sure it would have mattered who played quarterback. The Raiders played inspired football. The rookie,
as you do.
Yeah, the rookie Aiden O'Connell looked fine. Just over 200 yards, no touchdowns and no picks. Josh Jacobs, easily his best game of the year.
Yeah.
26 for 98, 2 touchdowns. Jacoby Myers had a cheeky touchdown run, which was really nice.
Yeah, and he was like blocking downfield and stuff. He seemed super motivated, man. I was like, he was popping off the screen a bit.
Yeah, and then of course the Raiders defense took care of the rest, sacking Daniel Jones twice and Tommy DeVito 6 times. Mad Max Crosby 3 sacks all by his damn self. I mean, they were feasting on the Giants.
And Hunter Renfrow plays for the Raiders.
It was a Hunter Renfrow sighting. Go figure. I would argue that this particular debacle places the Giants firmly in the running for top pick in the draft next year. I mean, if they have to seriously start Tommy DeVito for the remainder of the season, I don't see them winning another game.
No, he's so bad. That's a shame, man.
The last thing I want to say about this game, and this is crazy, I could not believe this when I read it yesterday. Okay? Now, you know what? Actually, give me the Price is Right music. Give me my music. Okay. Jonathan Rollins, the Raiders were up 24-0 going into halftime of this game. This is the largest halftime lead the Raiders have had in a game since 2010. Can you name the team and the coach who they did this to back in 2010?
2010. I'm going to guess it's the Denver Broncos and Josh McDaniels.
Yes! Is that the craziest thing you ever heard?
That is crazy. I figured it had to be them.
Yeah, of course it did. I mean, the week after you fire Josh McDaniels, you go into the half with the biggest lead you've ever had since you beat Josh McDaniels. That's like. This is why I know that the NFL is not scripted. You couldn't possibly have done that.
My question is, how did that guy get another shot at coaching? All the signs were there that Josh McDaniels is not a coach material. He started off with a bang in Denver, right? Turned out that it was cheating. He got caught cheating. He got fired because the whole thing got toxic over there. Then he took the job for the Colts and then said, never mind. Fucking up the Colts' season and all of their plans because he turned down the job last minute when they had a press conference already scheduled to welcome him to the team. And he said, nah, I'm good. I'll stay with Papa Bill. Like, why did any team give this guy another shot? It's so crazy. And hopefully he won't get another shot again because of how toxic he left the situation in Oakland. Not Oakland, in Las Vegas.
I don't see Josh McDaniels ever getting an opportunity to be a head coach again. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No way. And I think the answer to your question is, despite the fact that it's proven not to be successful outside of New England, there's just a lot of deference paid to the whole idea of the Belichick tree. I think that's how he got another job. But I don't think that the Bill Belichick coaching tree is dead. I think it's literally been like sawed in half and thrown down the river. Like, I don't think anyone at this point has any faith in the Bill Belichick coaching tree.
The only person that people talk about is Brian Flores as a possibility to come from that tree.
Sure.
Now, and it's like, I'd be scared. I would understand if teams were like, nah. And then if you think about what happened with him, he went there to Miami, and then the situation got toxic there. to deal with that type of coach. But Belichick can act like a genius because he's a fucking genius.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it gets it gets a lot more tiresome when you only win 2 games.
Yeah.
You know.
The marquee game of the week was the Eagles and the Cowboys. I was excited about it. I stayed up and I watched most of it till I dozed off, and because I went to sleep not knowing who was going to win. It was fun. I loved the intensity between the two. It was a rivalry game, and it turned out Eagles again. I have not watched the Eagles and been like, I'm impressed. What a team. Best team in the NFC. Haven't felt like that at all, but they find a way to fucking win, and I don't know what else to say about that. It's weird.
It is kind of weird.
It's weird that they're up there. It feels like how you mentioned about the Steelers and how a couple years ago how they were and how the Vikings were last year. It's like when I watch them play, I'm not super impressed, but then you can't argue with 8-1.
I feel like it has to be the coaching. I mean,
Yeah.
I really do, and I think this game came down to coaching as well. Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys went toe to toe with the Eagles, but in the end, they came up short when it mattered most a couple of times. But obviously at the end, the ball in hand, deep in Eagles territory, they get a false start that pushes them back. Then they take a huge 11-yard sack. The game ends on a 3rd and 26-yard down where Dak throws it to CeeDee Lamb, but Lamb fumbles the ball away, and the fat lady starts singing from there. I mean, otherwise, it's a great night by Dak Prescott. 29 for 44, 374 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. I mean, how the hell did CeeDee Lamb have 191 receiving yards but no touchdowns? That's insane. I don't think you could ask Dak Prescott to do much more than what he did.
Could you ask Hurts to do less with 23 attempts?
Yeah,
they know where their bread is buttered, man.
And he's obviously you could see that he's playing with a knee injury.
Oh yeah. That was an ugly when his knee went sideways like that. Yeah, he might be. They might have to look at that.
Well, luckily they're going into their bye as well, so that's good for them. I mean, like you said, the Eagles did what they do, and honestly, this tush push thing is kind of amazing. I mean, like how many teams out there are truly playing with 4 downs? It makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, you have to hope they get a holding call or something. And as we saw when they played the Dolphins, referees don't call penalties on them. So it's like,
yes, I saw that. I did see that.
And they say somebody was saying, I heard somebody saying something about they jump early on every tush push play. Like they go before the snap. And I saw they showed a side view of it, and one of the players, it's like the guard or the tackle from the right side, jumped like sideways, like his body sideways, almost like a log that they're gonna push that as well, like to get everybody back out of the way. I was like, man, they are really so creative.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a creative thing, and it's fascinating. I don't know how long the league's gonna let it exist, but I don't know, man. You got to stop it. They'll figure something out to stop it. Somebody will figure something out. But it's fun right now. It's like the Wildcat in the 08.
It's kind of cool, yeah. I mean, Hurts, despite the knee, obviously looked good and clearly found time to throw a touchdown pass to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Gainwell had a really fun rushing touchdown where he did that flip over the dude. That was pretty dope.
Wow, that was nice.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown didn't his streak ended.
Yeah.
With 66 yards.
Cowboys' run game is sneaky bad this year, which I think was a big difference in this game. The whole idea that Pollard was just going to be the top running back has not really panned out. Not sure. I don't know who to blame for that.
I would say it's probably Mike McCarthy.
I mean, because how could you go from... I mean, he was so clearly the best running back like one of the
Yeah, but now
best
you can
running backs
focus
in the
on him.
league last year. And yeah, I guess you could focus on him now, but it just feels like they're just, I don't know. I don't know if they're not scheming it up right or what, but maybe it's the
With the
loss of Kellen
Eagles,
Moore. Maybe you lose Kellen Moore and I don't know. I don't know.
Eagles defense, man. That's one thing they can.
I don't disagree with that, but I'm just mean like this has been a problem for them all year. Like
Yeah.
Pollard, just hasn't really had that great of a season, regardless of who they play.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a fun game though. A fun game for me to watch because I hate this rivalry team of mine. Buffalo Bills getting beat by the Bengals and looking bad. Loved it. Ate it up. The next morning when I watched it, it's fantastic. I think I've watched it twice, or at least the highlights and then the game in 40, just to see just Josh Allen just losing the game for his teams. Oh,
yeah, I watched the game in 40 last night. Bengals won 24-18. Both teams scored on their opening drives, but then the Bills did that thing where they go to sleep while the other team keeps scoring points, and then they have to play catch up, which didn't work.
And the Bengals left points on the field. Because Chase dropped a touchdown. Burrow missed them on another one. It's like they could have they handily beat the Bills.
The Bills continue to have some turnover issues. I mean, he had a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown, but he also threw a pick. Dalton Kincaid had a really costly fumble at a key point in the game. And meanwhile, Joe Burrow is just, more or less, he's cooking, man. They start the year 0-3. Now they've won 5 straight. He's 31 for 44 in this game, 348 yards and a couple of touchdown passes. And he's starting to spread it out too, Obviously, the Bills were keying in on Jamar Chase. But, so he was like, fuck it, I'll just throw it to Irv Smith Jr. and Drew Sample to get our touchdowns. It's like, who the fuck is Drew Sample? T. Higgins stepped up, 8 for 110. Joe Mixon looks good. He's been looking good the last couple of weeks.
Tyler Boyd, man, that was another one. Like
Tyler Boyd looked good.
I was very impressed by the Bengals, man. And then Lou Anarumo, man, because Buffalo's going to have to get that mindset of we need to outscore everybody. Our defense is decimated by injuries. Let's go nuts. Let's go nuclear on offense. And Anarumo was like, not so fast. And kind of just I don't know, squeezed them. and Allen was running all over the place too.
Yeah, we kind of had a feeling that they were going to take the leash off in this game. Because honestly, at this point, it feels like a must-win game. When you have two teams like this, while I feel great for the Bengals, I will say they're not quite out of the woods yet.
No,
because as I mentioned, everyone in the AFC North continues to win games. The Ravens, obviously, that makes sense, but because the Steelers and the Browns keep winning despite some of the odd circumstances and their roster construction and all that kind of stuff. The Bengals are still technically in last place in the division, even though I kind of think of them as better than everyone, or at the very least better than the Steelers and the Browns for sure. Basically, it means that there's like their margin for error is still zero. They have to keep playing perfect football.
Yeah.
So.
No hiccups. No hiccups, Bengals.
Can't afford it.
And in the final game of the week, the Jets played the Chargers.
Speaking of hiccups.
No, that's vomit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was a hic. Like sometimes when you burp and a little vomit.
Yeah, the hot dog, little hot dog burp. It always tastes like a hot dog. I haven't eaten a hot dog in a year and a half.
Yeah.
That's the Jets.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert looked like not that good, man.
No.
But the Jets defense showed why they're so good, and it just makes you feel bad, man. Like, this shouldn't be happening. Zach Wilson had to throw the ball 49 times. I'm so pissed. God. The last drive, we had bet him to go under 205 yards. The last drive, he drives them all the way down, doesn't score a touchdown, and then busts the.
Just ruin our bet.
Gets 260 yards. I was like, come on, man.
Wow, 33 for 49, 263 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but he got sacked 8 times.
So much, yeah.
And fumbled the ball 3 times. Garrett Wilson also had a fumble. So that may be, but yeah, you're right. Again, the Chargers, I think I'm starting to feel the same way about the Chargers, the Colts, and the Saints. These are average football teams that should be better than what they really are.
Yeah. I think it's time to. The Colts really need. I mean, they put it looks good. 27-6. Wow, we're ready. They just blew out. Didn't they blow somebody out last week too? But when you watch it, it's like they need a change, man.
I mean, good. Okay, so the good news for the Chargers: Austin Eckler had a really nice game, couple of touchdowns. Who else? Keenan Allen.
Man, he was saving some bad throws, man.
He made
catch radius is insane.
He made an insane catch. He also kind of joined the 10,000 yards receiving club, which is pretty significant. Obviously, a great career. But yeah, I think also, I mean, the funny part about this was like the way this game started. Both teams, it looked like we were in for a stinker, right? Both teams start the game 3 and out. Right?
Yeah.
Chargers go 3 and out. Jets go 3 and out. But when the Jets punt the ball, little man gets it and takes it to the house. Who was it? Darius Davis? Was that his name?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Davis, rookie out of TCU, takes that shit all the way to house just to get the party started. So that was a nice touchdown cushion that they got from their special teams. So yeah, but yeah, I continue to find the Los Angeles Chargers to be suspect. I don't trust them.
Yes. And speaking of, you mentioned punchable faces earlier. Kellen Moore, man, jeez, that dude's face is so punchable.
That's fair. That's fair. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, let's. That was it. That was the last game. We've gone through all the games. We can do some superlatives if you got some. If you got any.
MVP. I'm gonna go with a bit of a twofer. Both from the Texans. First is Dare Ogunbowale.
Yeah, my Nigerian brother.
Third string, the new Nigerian nightmare. Third string running back who came in and took over kicking duties when Texas kicker Kaimi Fairbairn got hurt. Dude kicked a 29-yard field goal in a close win, and every time he kicked the ball off, he put it through the back of the end zone.
Yeah, man.
What a badass.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. He was my honorable mention as well.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, the main MVP of the week for me has got to be C.J. Stroud, who I personally just locked up Rookie of the Year honors this week, going 30 for 42, 470 yards, 0 picks, 5 fucking touchdown passes, rookie record. Blasted 3 separate wide receivers to have over 100 yards in this game. And when they needed it most, with barely 40 seconds left on the clock, Stroud puts the team on his back, leads the team to victory. Unbelievable in performance. I couldn't be more impressed with CJ Stroud.
You the real MVP.
I had the same 2 people, man. I had an honorable mention for my Nigerian brother, Dare Ogunbowale, and C.J. Stroud, man, you said this guy was the most NFL-rated quarterback of the draft. I believed you, but good golly, he came out guns a-blazing. Yes, I said good golly, and had him a record-setting Sunday with 470 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, quarterback rating of 147.8. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Those final 2 throws of that game-winning drive were nothing short of spectacular. The cover 2 beater throw that I thought Trevor Lawrence was the best at was thrown to perfection by Stroud to set up that final score. He was amazingly poised throughout the game. He was bigger than the moment and not the other way around. I'd offer a salute to the young man, but I have a feeling there's going to be plenty of praise for him in the next few years. CJ Stroud.
You the real MVP.
My trash, man. Arthur Smith. I almost don't want to say another word. I'm sorry, Skip.
No, but honestly, that you're right. You could just cut it off.
Just end it right there.
Everybody knows. Yeah, good one, Arthur Smith.
Well, I'm sorry, Skip, but I got to give it to your boy on this one.
Do it.
As a professional football coach, you cannot lose back-to-back games to guys taking starting snaps for their team for the first time. Will Levis came out in his debut and beat Smith's team and looked amazing. Everybody's like, oh my God, this guy's the next thing. And then we see him the next weekend. It's like, oh, he's a regular quarterback. Made him look like a god. Then the next week, he's starting up. This other guy's coming out, like you said. Hall is out here looking like another, like, oh my God, here we go. And then he gets hurt, and you're like, okay, Joshua Dobbs, who woke up in the morning, hurried to the Vikings facility, realized he had on Cardinals gear, changed into correct uniform, shook hands with his teammates for the first time. He watched the quarterback get hurt, comes in not knowing the plays, and figures out how to beat an Arthur Smith-led team. It's embarrassing. There have to be some serious conversations and possible trips to the principal's office after these last 2 weeks. And at least for this week, Arthur Smith.
You are trash!
Well, so far, you and I appear to be on the same page with MVP and trash.
Yeah.
Because honestly, for the love of God, Arthur Smith, what are we doing here? I'm not going to reiterate my rant from earlier, but this does have to be one of the most pathetic and embarrassing losses for any team in the NFL this year. Blowouts are like whatever. Embarrassing is losing a game like this that was so insanely winnable at multiple points in the game.
Right.
Most notably, a particular second half possession. Falcons get a sack fumble return that puts us on the Vikings 1 yard line. First play, false start. First and goal from the 6, 5 yard pass to our number 2 tight end, Jonnu Smith. Second down was a failed jet sweep to Jonnu Smith, who is quite possibly the slowest skilled position player on our roster for no gain. Third down was
he had a big play though.
He did. Yeah. Third down was a woefully unimaginable attempt to just try and barrel Tyler Algier into the end zone, which is exactly what the Vikings thought we were going to do. It turned into a 4 yard loss, and we settled for a field goal. The fact that Bijan wasn't even on the field. Hell, even Kyle Pitts would have been a better choice for a jet sweep play. Okay? And also, how the Falcons, with a few exceptions, acted like the Vikings' 35-yard line was like essentially the end of the earth where we just could not pass and had to kick only field goals from there. Given the safety sack, the field possession battle that we were winning by a sizable margin, the Falcons could have been up by 3 scores at the half if Arthur Smith knew what the fuck he was doing. And now I'm hearing, or actually they changed it. He said immediately after the game that he wasn't sure whether Heineke was going to start next week. We might have to go back to Desmond Ridder. Now he's changed his mind. He said Heineke's going to start. All that aside, I feel like Arthur Smith has completely lost the plot. He acts like a rich, entitled dick in his press conferences, like he's too rich to be wrong. He's rude. He's snippy. He's condescending. And his overall record is 18-25. He just lost to a quarterback who didn't even know the plays. And I don't think he should be an NFL coach because he's so clearly a giant pile of steaming trash.
Wow.
You are trash!
I didn't know it was a giant pile. Giant pile of steaming trash. What's your shit got learned?
My shit got learned. Have you really thought about the state of the quarterback position in the NFL?
Yes, man. I almost wrote that. I'm glad I didn't. We can't have the same everything.
I mean, think about it. The AFC is obviously better, right?
When has it been worse? When has it been worse when you think about it?
Yeah. The AFC is obviously better. You got Mahomes, you got Allen, you got Burrow, Lamar, Tua, Herbert, if I have to. But think about the NFC, and I'm talking about right now, okay? You got Hurts, you got Dak, and you got Goff. The next tier is like
Goff being top tier.
I know. The next tier is like falling off a cliff. Okay, it's like falling off of Mount Everest, right? You got Sam Howell, Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, Jordan Love, Tyson Bagent, Ritter / Heineke, Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young, Brett Rippon, Clayton Tune. I know there's more, but honestly, who cares? After thinking about this,
don't forget the 49ers quarterback though, Brock Purdy. You didn't mention him.
He's not a real quarterback.
Geno.
He's also not been good this year.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, if you take like three quarterbacks from the NFC who you would like be like, okay, I believe this guy could win me a game. After that, it's like, maybe Brock Purdy. I don't know. So after thinking about this, I feel like the shit that I learned this week is that this year is the best year I have seen in a very long time, where I feel like a non-quarterback player has a legitimate shot at winning the MVP, right? Tyreek, A.J. Brown, McCaffrey, they're all out here doing some historic shit, and in my mind should be the front runners for league MVP. I'm sure Hurts will probably swoop in and get it at the end, but honestly, I feel like this should be the year. 2012, Adrian Peterson was the last guy to do it, and I just feel like because the defenses are playing so well this year and the quarterbacks are struggling, I just feel like this could be the year.
Wow. Good one, man. My shit got learned is that this week the Vikings really exposed the Jets. I know they didn't play each other, but the Jets front office is getting a free pass while going out there and pretending their hands are tied with their quarterback situation.
Oh,
they're not 100%. They're not 100% stuck with Zach Wilson. He is not a top 40 quarterback in the league. That means there are, if you're doing the math, 8 backups probably better than him. I should have written them down because I'm sure I could find 8 backups in the league that are better than Zach Wilson. And there's no reason that the Jets are not kicking the tires on some options that are out there. And I'm not saying they would have won this game against the Chargers with a Carson Wentz or Colt McCoy or Colin Kaepernick, but you have to at least keep your team motivated. And trotting out an obviously unqualified quarterback with obviously better guys being out there is not going to exactly win over your locker room. And then on the same day that we see Zach Wilson sputtering around and getting bullshit garbage time yards at the end of the game, we see the Vikings go out, find a guy that's going to make the season matter in Josh Dobbs, who ends up getting thrown in the game and winning the game anyway. And that locker room, though they're all fans of Kirk Cousins, all wearing a shirt in support of Kirk Cousins, is rallying around this new quarterback now that's going to help them make this season matter because they're all playing for the season and they don't give a fuck about the draft and all that other shit that the fans and the front office does. So the Vikings really exposed the Jets, who are looking like they're worrying about the wrong thing right now.
That's a very interesting point. I feel like Josh Dobbs is probably making multiple franchises look bad right now.
Man. It's like, how are you not, like, if you care, if you're telling your fans we're doing everything, all we care about is winning, Your quarterback got hurt. We see it's the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? It's the most important thing as quarterback. As we look around the league, as what you just said, where we've never seen the quarterback situation looking like this. That means you got a shot. You got a shot. You get somebody who's decent. Carson Wentz is better than Zach Wilson.
I really do. This take that I had last week that there needs to be a separate salary cap for backup quarterbacks. I feel like,
or an exception of some sort. You know what I mean?
I feel like I'm becoming more and more convinced of this.
I agree.
By the day.
I think, man, even if it's not salary cap, then a salary cap exception. Like if you lose, this player, like maybe every team can designate a salary cap exception player. That's like if this person goes down, then I can access this extra salary cap exception fund or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's one way to do it. So it's not just quarterback. Like, oh no, if I lose, I don't know, my Max Crosby, I want to be able to. I guess quarterback is more important, but
yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. I think it's a great thing, or something needs to be out there because, unfortunately, when we get them out there like that, then
there's a lot of bad football from what I watch.
Agreed.
And we don't need that.
Yep.
Scariest AFC team right now. I'm gonna go with the team that's coming into form in the Bengals. I know people might say the Chiefs. The defense is with their defense being so good, but their offense still isn't scaring me that much, man. They didn't even muster up a point in the second half of the game. So I got to go with the Bengals, man. Their offense is Joe Burrow is looking better than ever, actually, and their defense is looking nasty. So I'm going with the Bengals.
I'm going to go Ravens.
Yeah, I see that.
I feel like they're playing inspired football, and I don't even really feel like they're played their best game yet.
Yeah.
And they're also showing how they can beat you in different ways with different players, and like this is a scary football team, and that defense is. I read somewhere yesterday like this is the best defense since the Ravens defense.
Oh wow!
Since the Ravens defense that won. Or like they're allowing the fewest like points per game since the Ravens defense since that same 2000 Ravens. It's pretty impressive. I'm going to go Ravens.
Okay. Scariest NFC team. Who you got?
I'm going to stick with the Eagles. Again, it's mostly because they just keep stacking wins, and also. This victory over the Cowboys means that they're basically running away with that division now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like...
Well, they got a gauntlet coming, so we'll see. We'll know in 5 weeks.
That can be a good thing, too, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
It could force them to play their best football going into the playoffs, so...
That's great. Mm-hmm. I got to go with the Eagles as well. I think the fact that the Lions got their ass whooped the last time we saw them doesn't help. So Eagles are just, they keep winning. They grind it out. It might not be beautiful, but it is what it is, man. As far as putting spec, I'm putting some spec on Josh Dobbs' name. He wasn't super disrespected, but he was just kind of an afterthought. People were like, this guy, he's fun. He'll do all right. But to come in, not know the plays, get them explained to you in the huddle in 45 seconds, and then executing to the best of your ability, leading the team in rushing, and willing your team to victory. Like the embrace at the end of the game said it all when O'Connell was like, thank you. Thank you for what you've done for us today, and good things ahead. I can't wait to see him with some actual knowledge of the offense behind him. So right now, you got Josh Dobbs is telling people,
put some respect on my name.
You think they gave him the game ball?
Nah. Addison. Addison got the game ball.
Yeah. We're going to give it to the right tackle.
Yeah, man.
He was
Holding
good
down,
on that
man.
one play.
I know you're not left-handed, but I mean the non-blind spot blocker.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. I know we talk about him a lot on this podcast, but I learned something this week
Okay.
that I feel like isn't being talked about enough. Did you know that the Steelers, who are 5-3, have been outgained in all 8 of their games that they've played in this season?
Wow.
I've also learned that they are the 34th team in NFL history to be outgained through 8 games, but they are the only team to do so and still have a winning record. That is astonishing.
Yes.
And at this point, I feel like I would sell a kidney to have this man as my coach. Mike Tomlin should be the coach of the year, and I think everybody needs to.
It's crazy that he's never gotten it.
Just fucking put some spec on this man's name. You got to give this man coach of the year. He's too good.
Man, my timing was off. My timing was off. I don't know if do you mute your phone during these recordings? Oh, okay, never mind. I wanted your phone to start saying, all I do is win, 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 no matter what. I was trying to get that. That's all.
Who the fuck?
I wanted your phone to say, all I do is win, 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 no matter what. Isn't that your ringtone? Or is that just your alarm?
But it didn't. No, it is that, but I don't know why it didn't do that when you called.
Oh, okay. That's all I wanted, because that's what that guy does, man. Just wins.
He does.
I don't have that as a sound, so I thought your phone could do it for me.
Not fair.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's this episode, man. This has been a fun one. Week 9 is in the books. Here we go.
Where is it?
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there. And they
Oh, man. On that note, we're going to get out of here, man. Thank y'all so much for checking out this episode of SveNFL, man. It was fun, and we'll be back to predict all of the things that are going to go down in the next week of football. So stay tuned for that. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
Skiff Misara.
With SveNFL. Peace.
Later, y'all.
You down to do one on Thursday?